Natalie, when it comes. And then as a reminder, this session is meant to be as interactive as possible. So we welcome all forms of engagement through emojis, comments, questions in the chat. All of our sessions will be recorded and will be posted on our talent board website, after this session. But yeah, with that said, super excited to have you all here for our workshop, Make the Most of Your Next Internship workshop. And I'm going to pass it over to Natalie, who is so awesome and going to be doing the presentation. So here you go, Natalie, passing the mic your way.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm Natalie. As Carmela said, really great to meet you all. I also really quickly want to introduce my coworker who is here in support, Melissa. We have the same shirt on, ironically. Melissa, do you want to intro yourself?
Yeah, thanks so much, Natalie. Just really quick, I'm Melissa. I'm a campus recruiter on the team and really excited for this opportunity for all of you to learn a little bit more about making the most of your internship from Natalie. So take it away.
Thanks, Melissa. I also see we have some MongoDB interns on the call, so great to see you all. So just to get started, as a quick intro, I'm the program manager at MongoDB for our early career programs. And so AKA the campus team, the university recruiting team. I've been with MongoDB almost 3 years, and I work out of our New York City office, which is behind me. And this is Zoom screen. We have all of our snacks, all of our fun stuff that we do in the office. I'm pretending I'm there today, but coming to you live from New Jersey. And today I'm excited to share a little bit more about myself. I also wanted to tell you a little bit about my own career journey, as I've been working professionally for a little bit over 5 years, full-time, but I wanted to talk to you a little bit about my internship experiences, because I think that's always fun to see, hearing people's stories of where they interned or what opportunities they had before maybe they started working full-time, and some of the lessons I learned along the way that I think bring me to this conversation, right? Making the most of your internship. Whether you have an internship this summer, whether you're going to have an internship in the fall or in the future, want to make sure that you have those tips and tricks that I've learned in my time, not only from personal experience, but in working with interns for the past 5 years. So to kick it off, I'll tell you a little bit more about me personally. So this is a picture of me and my boyfriend, Andrew. Fun fact, we actually have known each other since we were in middle school. And the last time I saw him before we reconnected after college, we were 13 at 8th grade graduation. But we lived together in New Brunswick, New Jersey, right by Rutgers University. And I'm a Jersey girl through and through, love living in New Jersey and working in New York and kind of having the best of both worlds. My pre-pandemic hobby was going to concerts. I probably went to one at least once a month in my peak time of going to concerts. So I'm sure if we have any music lovers on the call, would love to hear maybe your favorite concert if you want to put that in the chat. And then actually this past Tuesday, I went to see the band Bleachers. Not sure if anyone knows that band, but Bruce Springsteen ended up coming to that show as a surprise, which was amazing, probably one of the best nights of my life. And so that's a little bit about my pre-pandemic hobby, which continues into, this new world, this hybrid work world. And then, during the pandemic, I was trying to think of things to do, again, for mental health, physical health. And I discovered golf, which has been really fun. Here's a picture of me. This is actually in Georgia on a course. It's definitely, I'm still a beginner. I'm getting the swing of it, literally, but it's been a lot of fun and a great way. The other day, I actually saw a MongoDB fellow employee taking advantage of a summer Friday. We connected and I saw he had the hat on with the leaf, and it's a great way to network too. So that's a little bit about me. This is my dog, Russell, who thinks he's a MongoDB intern, although he loves being on Zoom. He doesn't like to work at all, but he's really cute. I absolutely love animals, love dogs. And then in my free time outside of work, I also like to be in nature. And recently went to Costa Rica, which was incredible. Highly recommend if you like to travel, you're adventurous. This was a picture of me ziplining, which was a lot of fun, very scary, as I was telling Carmela. And then also in my spare time, I do photography. So here is a picture of a New Jersey sunset one summer in August. And I love taking pictures. Actually, yesterday in the MongoDB office, I was updating some headshots for some of the teams. So that was a lot of fun. So now I'd love to share a little bit more about my career journey. Actually, before I go into that, I forgot I added this in here. Wanted to first see in the chat, or if you want to show hands or raise hand, who has heard about MongoDB? Just because I want to get a sense of how much you know about MongoDB, kind of what your familiarity is with MongoDB. So it looks like Tyrone, you've heard of MongoDB, Melissa, of course. I know we have Lily. Anyone else? I think Savar, you said you've heard of MongoDB. Lynn, okay, so quite a few of you. Literally the best database. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. And so for those of you who might not know about MongoDB, I wanted to provide an overview of our summer intern program. And for those of you who have seen MongoDB, you might have seen this video already, but I think it really sums up the overall experience that you can have at MongoDB. We are a tech company. We are a database platform company, but I think this is the best way to describe it is hearing it right from the interns themselves. So before I go into my career journey, I will let you listen to this.
One of the reasons I really enjoy working at MongoDB is because it's such a tight-knit community. I feel that my opinions are valued, I have a lot of fun with my team, and I feel like the work that I'm doing really matters.
From the get-go, talking with the campus recruiters, going through the interview process, and even onboarding, I felt really welcomed.
Here you're actually making a project that's gonna make a huge impact, not just in the developer community, but actually like in the whole world.
I like to think of myself as a self-proclaimed CS nerd, and I really truthfully believe that MongoDB is the database of the future.
I felt like the core values really aligned with my own personal values, and so it was great to see a company that really lives by their core values.
I interned at MongoDB last year, and I decided to come back this summer for a whole bunch of reasons. Last year, even though we were remote, I still got to feel the culture of the company, and I also really valued the things that the company values, like their dedication to being a diverse company. All interns have the opportunity to join an affinity group, and I had the chance to join TUPOC, which is the underrepresented people of color.
I joined the queries group, which I had to join just because MongoDB databases queries, wow, best name ever. And it's just made a big difference for me coming to New York City for the first time, having this extra community inside MongoDB that's really made me feel comfortable being who I am here at MongoDB.
I'm a part of UGT. The mission of UGT is to create a safe space for underrepresented genders in tech, and what's really cool about it is that we also get a mentor within that affinity group.
Something that's been really important to me this summer has been mentorship. She's always there for me whenever I have any questions, and she has taught me so much during my time here that I really appreciate.
One of the intern events that I actually liked a lot was the one we had where we actually met Mark Porter. He's our CTO. He was down to earth. We talked with him about everything. He answered all our questions, and we had lunch with him. So that was super fun.
My favorite event so far has been the Central Park meetup. It was just really cool to see everyone outside the work environment.
We schedule lunches together throughout the week, we do trivia nights, and we play a lot of games online.
I've already made so many friends here, which, I was expecting to meet other interns, but I didn't realize that I would make so many friends here who I think I'll know for a while throughout my life.
3 words to describe my summer experience at MongoDB would probably be vibrant, unique, and friendships.
Exciting, learning, and mentorship.
Community, growth, and probably fun.
Fun, creative, and diverse.
Libertad, divertido, impacto.
Best internship ever.
Awesome. So hopefully that was informative and kind of heartwarming. I personally love that video, worked on that video with Melissa last year. So shout out to Melissa for all your help with that. And I think it really paints a nice picture of the culture at MongoDB, a little bit more of opportunities you could potentially get involved with your friends, and also thought it was nice on National Intern Day to celebrate all of our interns. So let's turn it back over to my career journey to tell you a little bit more. And I wanted to depict my journey to the growth of a tree. So in, taking the MongoDB leaf logo and tree metaphor, I just thought it was fitting. I wanted to depict it that way for all of you today. So a tree always starts with a seed, right? And for me, that seed was attending and graduating Rutgers University. And that's where I really nurtured my passion for human resources and realizing that that's where I wanted to start my career. However, throughout the time I spent at Rutgers, I had several opportunities to take on and learn what areas of HR I liked, and that was all through internships. So my first internship was in Edison, New Jersey with a financial services firm. It's called AXA Advisors, and that's where I was doing a lot of recruiting. I had an amazing mentor who really taught me. It was my first professional work environment, so I had a lot to learn, a lot to understand, and she really taught me a lot. And then my boss at the time had sort of reached out to me and said, you're doing really well. There's actually an opportunity I heard of in New York City. As much as I would love for you to stay and work here, he said, I really don't think you should miss out on interviewing for this opportunity. And he had a connection who worked for more of a boutique financial services firm, a family office in New York. And so having, grown up right next to the city, going in for various holidays and events, I thought it sounded really exciting. So from the experience with AXA Advisors, I really learned that the importance of making those connections and having people who want to mentor you, who want to help you grow, right? My boss could have been selfish and said, no, I want Natalie to come back for another summer, but he really believed in me and supported me to move on to that new opportunity, even though it meant letting me go to try something new. So from there, I worked at Geller, which was, I think, what really solidified the lesson in that experience, solidified, wow, I love working in New York City. I was interning in the fall, so I was going a couple times a week around my school schedule, and I just loved a feeling of working in the city. And so that was an amazing experience, had a lot of more of a, I guess, corporate feel to understand some of those ins and outs of corporate HR, as well as helping to, dig my teeth into early career and recruiting. So as an intern there, that was my first exposure to, all right, an internship program and, figuring out all the strategy behind that and supporting some of those programs. That's really where the spark went off of, okay, I really like New York City and I really like working with internships and with programs. And so from there, I actually was going to go back there and had a return offer to attend the next summer. But something in my gut was just saying, you know what, let me see what else is out there. This was going into my junior year summer, something else, let's just apply and see what happens. And so that's where I found the opportunity at Avon. And as you can see, I went from, more financial services to a beauty brand. I'm not sure if any of you have heard of Avon, but totally different industries. So I definitely encourage, while you're interning and while you're starting out in your career, it's totally okay to switch industries and find what you like. That's really about making the most of your internship experience, seeing what you like and maybe what you don't like. And so that opportunity at Avon was probably one of the best experiences I've ever had as far as a work experience, just because it showed me, wow, the people here, the culture, the mission behind the company, this is so incredible. This is so profound. And I really loved being a part of that culture. For those of you who don't know, Avon is basically a direct to sales consumer market. So, Avon ladies or Avon representatives sell, and Avon ladies and Avon men sell the products. And so that was really cool to see, wow, this is changing people's lives. And they also had a very great mission tied towards ending breast cancer. And so that was really personal to me. So the time at Avon, I think, really taught me, wow, being a part of a culture, a community, that's something I really want when I continue my career journey. So you can see all of these little lessons along the way, right? You know, Rutgers being a place where I started to take classes and understand maybe HR is for me. Then at AXA Advisors, seeing, wow, having a good mentor, that really makes a difference. Going to Geller and Company, wow, I really want to be an early career and I love New York. And then finally with Avon, realizing culture and people are really, really important, finally led me to MongoDB. And so I wanted to just go over that to give all of you insight into the things that you can possibly learn along the way. And wanted to see first if anyone, I'll pause there, if anyone has any specific questions about these experiences. If not, I'm happy to go into some of those tips and tricks that I have. Alrighty, we'll move on. So now about making the most of your internship. Before I go into this, actually, let me go back. I'm curious to see who here has an internship this summer or has had an internship. I would love to hear where you've interned. If you want to put that in the chat, or if you want to unmute yourself, if you want to make this interactive, just curious to see where you've interned before.
Hi, I'm Vaishali, and I am a fourth-year PhD student at UC Santa Barbara in computer science, and currently I'm interning at FutureWay Technologies. It's a cloud research lab, and this is located in Seattle.
Okay, nice, awesome. Thanks for sharing.
Sure.
I see we have Tencent, Walmart, Steelcase, Humo, I might be saying that incorrectly, Google, Sandia National Labs, CACI, Canalist, a fintech. Oh, cool, we have Canada, an ed tech startup. Awesome. So a lot of diversity of different industries here. I know we have MongoDB on the call too. So love to see that. Oh, and I see Javier. Good to see you, Javier. Thanks for coming. Awesome. So for those of you who have had an internship, haven't, these tips I think will be really helpful no matter what, no matter your experience. And for those of you who maybe haven't had an internship, you know, be patient. It's totally okay if you haven't had an internship, especially in the current economic market, you know, COVID, the pandemic, things that are happening in the world. So just, you know, be patient, your time will come. But when you do have that internship, I want to give you some tips of what I think will really help you out. Okay, so the first tip I have is make a brag sheet. So this was something that one of my managers taught me, and it sounds a little bit selfish, but it's all about saving your accomplishments and the things you do really well. So I would recommend creating, whether it's on a shared drive, somewhere where you have it on your personal, you know, not your laptop or device from your internship, but somewhere that you can save it so you can access it after the internship, making a collection of any sort of email recognition you receive, any awards that you receive, anything that just you're getting kudos for throughout the time that you're an intern, because all of those things in the moment, you might be really excited and you receive it, but you're probably going to forget what that feedback was because there's so many instances and things happen throughout the internship. So I would highly recommend recording that somewhere, saving it so that you can look back and see, wow, here's all the things that I was called out for. And hopefully you're getting that positive feedback. That's definitely a part of our culture at MongoDB. So hopefully you're getting that throughout the program. And I would highly recommend putting that in one location that isn't confidential or tied to your, say, intern email or intern drive so that you can access it after the internship. The next thing is to update your resume. So what I would recommend is while you still have that fresh relationship with your campus recruiter, I would reach out to them, take the initiative as you're winding down your internship to figure out what should you be putting on your resume. Now, your resume, there's all different opinions per recruiter, what they think looks good, what they think, you know, isn't so good. But at the end of the day, it's your space to showcase yourself. and your work and all the accomplishments that you've done. So you can really take that brag sheet if you want and help apply some of that to the bullets in your resume. But I would say while things are fresh in your mind, while your project is fresh, while maybe some of the opportunities you had during the internship, make sure that you're recording that somewhere else as well so that you can update your resume. And utilizing, say, maybe your manager or your mentor or your campus recruiter, whoever it is, to really help you hone in on those maybe 4 bullet points that you want to list. We want to make things short and sweet and very direct, right? So you don't want to put on there maybe more administrative tasks, but you do want to put the project work that had a key impact. And anytime you can put metrics tied to your work, that's also really important. So that's why I would say doing this near the end of the internship helps you because you have the resources. I'm sure, you know, your mentors, your campus recruiters would be more than willing to sit down with you for 20 minutes, help you, you know, develop those things for your resume, but also it's fresh in your mind. You aren't in, you know, back to the swing of things in university and you have the time to do it now. So highly recommended doing that. And then the next one is network. So I would recommend as you're wrapping up your internship to really make the most of your internship is setting up some coffee chats, whether it's in person, it's on Zoom, maybe you're introverted, right? And this is a real stretch for you. But I still encourage, if you can, to set up even a phone call. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to be on the screen. You can just let the person know, listen, I'd love to just chat and take some notes and kind of reflect on this experience. Having those last couple week connections will go a really long way for not only a potential opportunity immediately, right, for maybe a new grad or return intern offer, but also just to develop that relationship and sort of wrap things up with your current mentor, current leaders, whoever it is you want to meet with, to showcase your skills. And then in the future, maybe there's an opportunity that comes up and they can think back to that time that they met with you. So I would say doing that is really important. And on top of that, also connecting on LinkedIn with, I would say, everyone that you met and felt like, wow, I would love if someone went on my LinkedIn profile and they saw, for example, I'm going to call on Melissa. If, say, someone went on my LinkedIn and they saw, oh, I had a connection to Melissa, that would make me feel really good because she's part of my team. I know she, you know, does really great work and is highly regarded in the space. So you want to think of LinkedIn as, wow, whoever you're associating with, you want to have them have a positive reputation so that your network is building of some really smart, you know, competent people. And that's going to be, you know, the newsfeed that you see, and people are going to sort of judge you on that. So that's important. So I would say connect with everyone you met that you want to stay connected with in that space. This could be fellow interns. Don't forget about your peers. Sometimes your peers are going to be your best networking opportunities. We often forget that, you know, peers are a way to network and to receive opportunities. So definitely connect with everyone that you feel are worth connecting. And then speaking of LinkedIn, making sure you update your LinkedIn. So after your internship, you can, if your internship ends, you can say the date. So you can just make sure that's up to date of when it ended, or maybe it's continuing. You can put some bullet points that you got from your resume or some key achievements. You can put that onto your LinkedIn now that it's the internship has ended. I would also say if you need a new headshot, depending, it's always good. I heard someone on my team say it's good to do it every 6 months. That's a little bit much. I don't know if I would recommend that, but every few years updating it as you go into maybe the fall recruiting season. So updating your headshot, making sure that your internship information is up to date. I would also say updating, for example, your headline, right? Because you might have changed that to say incoming intern at MongoDB. Make sure you change that to whatever the heading is. This will all help you build your personal brand online, which is becoming more and more important in this world of hybrid work. I would also say if you, for example, weren't following your company and you had a really positive experience with your company, make sure you give them a follow on LinkedIn. And if there was any other companies that maybe you came across in your internship, or any other causes that just came into your life and you want that included on your LinkedIn, to also put that. And this is a great time to reflect on that. Any questions about LinkedIn while I'm on this subject? Okay, perfect. So my next tip is write a thank you note. So this one is very simple, yet very profound. And I'm just a big fan of writing thank you notes and expressing gratitude. So if you can do even a handwritten note, I'm sure your leaders, your mentors will be really impressed with you. It really goes a long way in expressing that gratitude. And it's very simple. You can do a handwritten note, you can write an email, whatever it is, just expressing that gratitude is just a good best practice that you can do. Up next is a little bit similar, but staying connected. So checking in with, say, the peers that you connect with on LinkedIn, fellow interns over time. You know, it's always good to keep those relationships alive. I personally am still connected with and text and FaceTime with people who I interned when I was at AXA and Avon. At Geller, there was a little bit less interns, but I still stay connected with all of those people. So making sure that you are in the know, adding people on LinkedIn, and just checking in with those people every once in a while. You're probably likely going to make some friendships too, so that'll naturally happen. But you never know where one connection may lead you. So I just want to have you thinking about that as you are, saying your goodbyes and see you laters. Next up is evaluating a return offer. So to make the most of your internship, if say this experience was, maybe not the best experience for you, and that happens, right? Maybe it wasn't the best experience and you learned, I don't know if this culture was exactly for me, or I don't know if I really like the work or the industry. You want to make a pros and cons list. You want to think about some key things such as culture, the scope of the work, right? The industry, location, where do you want to be? For me, that was a big thing that I learned is I love working in New York City. There's just something about it that I really love, the energy in New York. So thinking through all of those things and making your pros and cons list. In some cases, maybe a return offer isn't available, but that doesn't mean it closes the opportunity forever going into the future. Even my time at Avon, I had received a return offer to come back full time, but there was a couple of students who at that time, Avon just couldn't support extending the offer. And it ended up when I started, they all started a couple weeks later because the teams had the budget. So that's why it's good to stay connected, follow up, because you never know where that could lead in the future. But if you do get a return offer, thinking through just all of those things will help you. Also, relying on your mentors, relying on your campus recruiters to understand, is this the right decision if you are going to accept that return offer? And maybe you get a return offer to be an intern again, like my situation, right? For me, wasn't the right timing. I chose to try something new, but we've had many instances at MongoDB where people have interned 3 times and they love it and we love them. So you have to kind of think about what works for you and what doesn't. And then finally, my motto, be kind to yourself. I think that this is really important, if not, now more than ever in this current economic climate that we're in. I would say, based on my experience, expect that change is the new constant, and that being kind to yourself and remembering if you do end up needing to interview, right? Say you don't get that return offer or something like that, patience is going to be key. You have to be kind to yourself. The right opportunity will come when it's meant to be. And so just keeping that in mind, I think also helps you make the most of your internship experience. And with that, I am done with all of my tips and tricks. So would love to open it up to any questions anyone has.
Yeah, so I have a question. So when you're doing an internship, right, you figure out that the domain you work in, you actually like it, right? And then the following year, you actually want to pursue, and another internship in the same domain, but you want to try out like kind of like a different company, I would say, right? So I work in distributed databases, and I figured out I like it, and yeah, that was one reason I attended this session, right? So my question is, how do you kind of sometimes the roles internship posts are like very open-ended, like kind of like it's just an internship, a general internship, right? So how do you figure out which ones to apply to, and how do you connect to the people in the company? Say like different companies that I have looked at, and I'm like, okay, probably they will be a good match for me. How do you expect people to respond to you, or how do you even connect for working in the same domain?
Yeah, great question. So I think you brought up a great point about, maybe it's the industry that you found, but you're thinking, all right, I have another summer, or I have time before I graduate. Let me make the most of it. Let me try something new. And for many people, that's typically what they end up doing. So you're definitely on the right track there. And I would say in deciding which opportunity over another is really do your research. For me, I really put an emphasis on culture and people. That's always been really important to me. And I discovered that when I was at Avon, right? So you have to kind of find what are the things that are important to you. For some people, it might be to work at a big tech company and have that on their resume. And that's totally fine. It might be company prestige. It might be company size, right? Maybe you want to try, you did a startup and now you want to try a mid-sized company, or you've gone to big tech and you're like, maybe I want something a little bit smaller, more intimate. So finding those things that are important to you, and then researching and seeing what you can find out about those things for certain companies. I would say now, especially, a lot of companies are very transparent in terms of their culture, in terms of, looking on their LinkedIn, reading blogs, doing all of the research that you can at your fingertips to discover, okay, maybe the SWE role for MongoDB and the SWE role for Meta kind of say the same thing. So how do I choose? I would start to look and dive deeper into the things that are important to you as a first go around. And then you mentioned also connecting with people and how do you sort of break in, right? When so many people are messaging on LinkedIn and all of that. I would say attending things like this is really important. And if I were a student now, there are so many opportunities to go to info sessions. And I know everyone's a little bit Zoom fatigued, but any opportunity that you can make to go and speak up in a situation like this, right? And sort of let your voice be heard, and then follow up with a LinkedIn connection request is key. Because in many cases, if you just try to blindly message people on LinkedIn, they might not get it because it's an in-mail, or they might not respond because they don't know you. So I would say take advantage of this hybrid work environment of being able to hop on a Zoom with different employers and then connect after the event, and then see where the conversation can lead you.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, cool. We have another question. What qualities do you look for in interns when giving return offers? How do you measure their performance or success? This is a great question. So at MongoDB, just taking a step back in terms of our culture. So we believe in something, it's called this idea of a growth culture. And that's all about really focusing in on what you're doing really well, and then what are some areas of opportunity? Because at the end of the day, especially as an intern, and I think back to my internships, you don't have all the answers, right? And you're just learning. So that all comes with this idea of growth and constant growth. And it's okay to fail, right? So at MongoDB, every intern receives a mentor, and this is essentially your manager for the summer. They'll be assigning you work. They'll be meeting with you on one-on-one for your one-on-one check-ins. They will be including you in all team communications, team meetings, and really checking on the progress against your goals. They'll also be the one making that final decision to give you a return offer. And so as part of that growth culture, one, your mentor should be giving you and will be giving you that constant feedback. So if, say, you didn't intern at MongoDB and you're wondering, well, how do I even start that? Take the initiative, right? It's a little bit scary sometimes, but asking for the feedback, checking in maybe a couple weeks into the internship and say, maybe could you go through 3 things I'm doing really well, and then maybe 3 things that are areas of opportunity for me, or maybe things I can improve for the second half of the internship. And we do just that. So we put all of our interns through almost like a mini performance review. And as you're getting feedback week by week from your mentor, there is this culminating event. It's called the growth conversation, where you submit feedback into our performance management tool, how you think you're doing and what your mentor is doing really well, and any areas of opportunity you have and you see for yourself personally, that gets shared to your mentor. And then your mentor will do the same for you. So they will put in all the feedback they have. You'll both be able to read it before you even go into that growth conversation or mini performance review. And all that is a little bit longer of a one-on-one than you typically have. And then you have a candid conversation with your mentor about what both of you wrote. And at that point, we will let you know if you are on track for that return offer, or if maybe you're a little bit off track, what can you do from here to really prove that by the end of the internship? And then at the end of the internship, again, you're getting constant feedback that second half. At the end of the internship, the mentors and the leads and the leaders all determine who receives offers, and that's all based on performance. We also have something, it's called an expectation assessment, which is basically it's almost like a rubric that you get for school, that is how you're graded or assessed in the growth conversation and at the end of the program. And you receive that as an intern on day 1 from your campus team mentor who's going to work with you, your campus recruiter that then works with you throughout the summer. And so we try to make it really easy, really simple, clear cut, no surprises, so that when you go through that growth conversation, you're thinking, okay, yeah, that makes sense. That was on the expectation assessment. Here's something I'm doing really well. And then maybe, here's an area of opportunity. So I hope that helps. Oh, also, I realized, what qualities do you look for in interns? I kind of went on a tangent, I guess, about the growth conversation, but I would say, so we bucket that expectation assessment into 3 key areas. It's what they do, what they know, and then how they behave. And all of those 3 things center around pillars of technical competence. So if you're a software engineering intern, there's a bunch of, I guess, key performance indicators that go under that, as well as the culture piece. So cultural add, and that connects to our company values, and that's more of the how they behave piece. But we have that bar, I would say, set pretty high at MongoDB, but in most cases, a majority of our interns do receive those return offers, which is awesome. Hopefully that answered your question. What else? Any other questions on the line?
All righty, so it looks like there's not any other questions coming in. So I'll go ahead and start wrapping things up, Natalie. Thank you so much for joining this session, and just super special shout out to, again, Natalie for hosting and sharing all these amazing tips. I hope you all take this with you as you continue your career journey. So like we said earlier, we took note of some folks who were engaged today, and we're going to go ahead and announce the winner of today's session to get their resume reviewed by one of our talent board members. So the winner is, let me do some quick drum rolls. It is by Shali and Shimla. So hooray!
Awesome.
We'll be reaching out to
Thank
both
you.
of you about next steps. We'll connect with you through email this week. This is going to be the last workshop for the Talent Board Career Prep series. So we really just want to thank you, especially to those that have come to multiple sessions, for tuning in and engaging with all of our workshops. And thank you so much for supporting this program. Look out for some emails regarding a survey, as well as when the recordings will be posted on our website. And yeah, we just want to thank you all again for joining us today, and happy National Intern Day to all the amazing interns and students that joined us here today. You all make this work so amazing, and we're cheering you on as you head into fall recruiting and continue on with your career journey. So thank you all so much.
I think we did, before we go, we did have one other question.
Oh, we did.
If I could quickly address that one before we go. For Savar, I'm not sure if I'm saying your name correctly, but the question was, what are some good questions to ask during a coffee chat with senior execs? So I would say, first and foremost, do your research as much as you can. It's okay to look at someone's LinkedIn if you're meeting with them. Don't be worried that they're going to see that you viewed their profile. Definitely do your research. And what you can do is you can ask them questions about their own journey, and maybe lessons that they learned along the way. And I would say the more specific you can make the question, maybe the better, to ask someone specifically about an experience they had. Maybe you're curious about a company they worked at, or how they got from this company to that company. I think trying to show them that you did the research, instead of just the blanketed question of, oh, what's your, the best advice you ever got, or something that's so general. I think it'll prove to them, wow, this intern really did their research and is really dedicated. So if you can ask questions that are more direct, I would kind of lean towards that side. And then trying to think if there's anything else. But yeah, that's what I would say I would gear towards. There is also, Camilla, one call to action I have for everyone here too. If this was interesting to you in terms of MongoDB, we are having our intern open house in a couple weeks. So I wanted to just share the link to all of you. If you want to attend, or if you think it sounds like a fun experience, tell your friends. This will be a chance, it's a virtual event, a chance to get to know MongoDB a little bit more. We're going to be going over our tips and tricks for the interview process and how you can be successful, as well as a chance to hear from our EVP, Dan Passett of engineering, and former interns and new grads. So it's an amazing event. It's not even that long. It's an hour and a half. So you definitely, try to fit it in if you can. It's going to be really, really exciting. And please help us spread the word. Yes. Thank you, Melissa. But that is everything. Thanks, Carmela.
Awesome. And thank you again so much, Natalie, for sharing that, and highly encourage you all to check out MongoDB's open house. I think it'll be really informative as you explore different companies. So yeah, thank you so much, everyone. And yeah, we'll be in touch with next steps.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.